Happy Halloween!
Hey everyone, Dave Prisoner 849 here, along with James SSS Fame 1981
How you doing?
and Jake Strike 16.
What's up? What's going on?
And we are just your average geeks.
What I do?
And tomorrow is Halloween, so we're here with a little Halloween episode. We're going to be talking about some Halloween movies and some horror video games. So, Jay, why don't you start us off with talking about some horror video games that are on your favorites list?
Well, I would say definitely my first one I ever played horror. I guess Friday the 13th on Nintendo was probably like the first horror game if you really consider that a horror game, but
God damn it, that was going to be on mine.
oh,
Son
sorry.
Of a gun.
Well, that was the first one I said I played. Just the music alone used to scare me. Going through the little cabins and Jason just pops up and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty classic back in the day. The one after that would probably definitely be the original Resident Evil. Definitely the scary part of that was definitely when the first scene when the door goes through the window, when it breaks through the glass.
Makes you jump, man.
Yeah, that had to have been probably the most classic for me horror games. Just because I think this even the still camera angles and stuff like that added to the kind of atmosphere because you don't know what's around the corner. The camera doesn't really just move, so they could put like a zombie in the corner, and then as you get closer, you know what I mean. I think that alone was pretty scary.
But no Nightmare on Elm Street for NES?
Oh my god. I don't. You know what? I don't think I really even played it that much. I don't remember.
I'm not sure if I did either.
I mean, I've seen videos of it and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
wasn't that a multiplayer game too? Like you could play multiple people.
For 4 people, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get to play that much. I've seen people play it though. I would say Dead Space is another good one if anybody ever played it. Dead Space. They're actually thinking about doing a remake of Dead Space. Actually, this was a really good game. Silent Hills. I don't have I played the first Silent Hill. I love the first Silent Hill. I don't actually have it with me. I can't find it, but Silent Hill 2 was really good. That was a good one. I think Silent Hill 3 was probably the scariest of them all. Out of all the Silent Hills.
I don't think I really played any of those actually.
Yeah, the first one was really good. I mean, I liked all 3. I mean, the second one not as much as the first and the third, but they were pretty good. The most recent one I played, obviously, this is Resident Evil 7 was really good. I always tell people you should try that.
That's the one PS4. With the tyrant following you, right? Or whatever he is, tyrant, right?
Well,
he follows you around the house.
No, that's actually Resident Evil 2. Well, not the tyrant. He's not the tyrant in Resident Evil 2, but they have a couple of them. Resident Evil 3 had parts of it where he would follow you around as well.
Wasn't Resident Evil 3 the one the guy had? He was like in the jacket. He was a big guy running around like out of nowhere, would blow through and come after you.
Well, no, that was Resident Evil 2.
That was 2. Oh,
yeah,
that was 3.
In the police station, he would follow you. He would come around. Yeah, they did it really good in the remake too. The remake was really good.
That's what I'm thinking of, the remake, huh?
Yeah, that's probably the most recent footage you've seen was probably the remake of it. Yeah, that was really good. I mean, Resident Evil 8 that just came out was really good. There's so many. I mean, all the Resident Evils are good except for 6. 6 sucked. Resident Evil 4 was good. I'm trying to think of some really old school horror games other than Friday the 13th. I think
is Castlevania considered horror?
I guess you could consider it horror.
Why not?
I mean, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a kid, you get to fight Dracula and all Frankenstein stuff. So, yeah, why not?
Yeah, definitely.
Castlevania was fun.
How about you, James?
Well, for me, honestly, I was going to say Friday the 13th and Resident Evil, so that went really well. That's fine.
Well, what on Friday the 13th?
Games,
What on Friday the 13th? What would really get you the most?
Well, pretty much what you said. You're going through all the cabins, and like the sound changes, and it's like, oh, time to run. He's coming for me.
Just that one sound that they used to make, the dun when he pops up. It was like out of nowhere.
I'm on the same note with you. It's pretty much those two games hit me. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that was like really, really spooky.
Mhm.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's pretty spooky to me. I mean, that movie series always bothered the hell out of me.
The movies were good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what, Castlevania, man, I consider that to be a fun horror game.
It's true.
You know, dealing with all those the horror characters and stuff. I mean, that game was hard as shit. In my
Definitely
opinion.
to me, Simon's Quest was definitely the scariest. I don't know why. It's something about Simon's Quest
That's
because
that's
it,
definitely more of a horror
yeah,
than the first one because of the night
right.
change and all that stuff. You know, you had the time of day change and
Mhm.
all.
The RPG elements that it had and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a game that James had shown me a long time ago, back when we were in high school. He had it on Genesis,
Oh,
and I
was it
got it
the
on N64. That Nightmare Creatures. I thought
Nightmare Creatures?
that was a fun horror game.
I don't even know what game you're talking about, bro.
I know it was old, man. It was old.
But if I would have owned it, I'd know what you're talking about.
Uh, you had it because we played it downstairs on
trying to-
Genesis.
Nightmare Creatures?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
What
Or maybe
system?
it was
That a-
PlayStation. Yeah, you know what? It might have been PlayStation. I think that you had it.
I don't care what it was. I don't even know what you're
Oh,
talking about. Hold
James,
on.
you know what's a good one? Blood Omen.
Creatures. Blood Omen. Oh, that's a really good one, actually.
Yeah, what was it? Uh, then they made the sequels for it. Remember Blood Omen, where you suck all the blood out of all the guys, you like fight them and
Yep.
stuff. That was on the
Legacy of Kain, right?
Legacy of Kain. That was it. Yeah.
So back to Dave real quick. I don't know what friends he's got, but it ain't me. I never played this game.
You played this game. I swear to God, it was at your
I'm
house.
looking at it right now. I've never seen this shit in my life.
You played it. You had
It
it.
does look creepy though. It does look creepy as hell.
You had it. You played it. That's the reason why I saw it. I knew about it, and I bought it for the N64 because it was on N64 also.
Look, I know you're getting older, and things aren't grinding the way they used to. I'll pull out all my shit and prove that I don't have that.
Oh, just because you don't have it right now doesn't mean that you didn't have it back
Oh
then.
God, yes! I got to stop playing semantics with me.
What? But to add to that, though, I would say also, I think two other classics that I played on PC would be Shadow Man and what was Blood 1 and Blood 2.
That was a first-person shooter, right?
Yeah, that was first person shooter. I think Shadow Man was a third person view, if I remember correctly. But Blood was Blood 1 and Blood 2, those were first person shooters. A lot of blood in that, obviously, from the name.
Yeah.
A lot of horror stuff, creatures,
cover-
monsters.
The cover of that game's got like the bloody hand. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blood. I'm looking at pictures of that now too. That's another one I didn't play. That looks spooky.
But that was on PC back in the day.
You know what I think? Like even just you know what it is, the old school, even the old school PC games before they got like really good with like the music and stuff like that. I think that's what made a lot of the games even more scary, just because it's like just the weird sound effects, the low budget sound effects and stuff like that always made it kind of, you know, like all that digital, that old school 8-bit music and stuff like that. That to me that kind of made some of the games scary just because of the way it sounds. You know what I mean?
You know what it
Yeah.
was? A lot of like some movies can do pretty good nowadays because they can get the sounds exactly they want. But that edgy bit music sometimes is
Mhm.
enough that it's just the way it sounds is actually better in a way.
Right.
I can't explain why, but it does pretty good, even though it sounds like lame in ways, but it was enough.
Like if
So,
you
Even the
took
graphics back then was good.
Yeah.
like if you took like new sound effects and new like music and put them in the old Friday the 13th game, it wouldn't feel the same. At least that's what I think. Like just like the, you know,
You know what it is? I think when you're building a game on like a say Nintendo 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever, all those things, systems, you're working so freaking hard to get it to look like what we've seen in a movie. And you know you're not going to get that, but you're doing really, really
Mhm.
hard work to get it there. So you're going for the look, the feel, the sound. Nowadays, they just put sound on it that sounds really good, and then they make some CGI that looks really clear, but they're not really going for grabbing it. That's why movies like, well, we'll talk about movies in a moment that are good and scary, but some movies do things differently on budgets and actually get a better feel for being scarier,
Mhm.
more than just looking scarier. So what I was going to say is maybe jumping up to it next, talking about movies, and I'll kick it off since you stole my games. Now,
I'm glad I'm glad we think alike.
no, but that's yeah, there it is, Nightmare Creatures. Once again, never played it, but Dave swears up and down in his
You definitely played it.
yeah,
You
okay.
played it.
Alzheimer's,
I got to
maybe?
tell you, I've never even seen that game before. I'm trying to think, man.
I know. Playing someone's basement.
It was your basement. It was
My
right before that. It was on a Saturday, and it was right before we went to. Oh no, it was a Friday. Before we went to that.
Let me see something.
The
Let's see.
Friday night thing at the high school. Remember, they used to have the basketball. You go there, play basketball,
Yeah. Friday
drink soda, and fucking do
Spurg out.
whatever.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. A lot of
Friday
basketball
night,
games.
whatever the hell it was called. I forget what it was
Yeah.
called.
Those were actually cool things that the school did. So everyone just meet up on a Friday night at the school, played fucking basketball for hours. Like, I don't know, would we play till like 9 o'clock, some shit, 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was that. It was that.
I'm looking at. I'm gonna look at a
I don't
picture of
remember
this
this
right
game
now.
though. I know my brain is a little watered out a
Oh
little bit.
shit!
Come on now.
Well, wow, that I could see why you thought it was scary.
Yeah, it's a spooky looking game. I was looking at it. I'm like, for its time, that was spurred me out.
Nightmare Creatures, huh?
Yeah, man.
Have you played it
Now, what
recently?
about?
Oh, they had a Nightmare
Huh?
Creatures too.
No, I haven't played it recently. Yeah, they did have a sequel to it. But what about I know I mentioned it to you. I think the other day, yesterday was Halloween on Atari.
You mentioned that they made one, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know they made one. You know what? I gotta look up a picture of this just to get an idea. If anyone's watching at the same time, you want to do this too. So we're doing
I know.
Halloween for Atari.
Never played it, but I seen it. I watched it in like the Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode on it.
Oh
And they
my
had it
God.
where Michael Myers chases you through the house and everything, and then he decapitates you when he gets near you. If he hits you, he decapitates you, and there's blood spurting out of your neck.
Oh my God, the graphics of these things. We've moved so far into the future of gaming. But back when, super good. All right, movies. So I'm gonna start this off. Don't think Jay would have took it. I just saw the head splatter from him being near you. So the picture of that was pretty funny. All right, but my favorite horror movie ever since I had a very strange upbringing. So we'll start with a story. Normally, when you're like, say, 5, 4 to 6 range, your parents will put you on the couch, maybe even younger actually, and throw on tapes. Well, when we grew up, VHSs of like Sesame Street, things like that. The kid's favorite thing, and you'd sit there like a little kid, like, woo, and watch that for hours, and your parents get a break. Well, my parents decided, well, if Sesame Street wasn't working, they had made a copy from television, so cursing was edited out, and sexual content was moved out of it, and they let me watch The Howling, and that was great because The Howling it's still a great movie. I bought it on DVD. It's got my best, in my opinion, werewolf transformations out there. Other people may have other things. I've seen different things, looked online what people say, but for me, it doesn't compare. The best how werewolf transformations happen in that, and it was very scary. Even to this day, when you're watching, it's like that element, like the sounds, the spookiness, the quiet, the ambience of it all. Extremely good movie, and that's what I would sit and watch as like a 6-year-old. And yes, I didn't bother my parents because I was sitting on the couch like this for a good 2 hours. I remember when that movie was finished, sometimes I'd be like, we had a little brown table that you would put stuff in and it would be behind the couch. And it was daylight out. So, they didn't do that to me in the dark or anything. It was always daylight. But I found myself after it was over behind the couch under the table chilling, like hiding. But I'd say, yeah, Howling 1, not so much the others. Howling 1 was my favorite horror movie. I do thoroughly enjoy, this is what I was talking about before, with movies that grasp the sounds, but all the super visuals. the guy, was it I want to say James Wong. I could be wrong about that. 100% probably wrong. But the guy who's done Insidious, The Conjuring, those movies, I still love watching those. They just have a feel where even I jump like, oh shit. Like that's what I like. That boom moment where your heart just jumps a beat. And they do really good. All those movies are good. I just watched Conjuring 3 the other night with Annabelle Beginnings or whatever, or Homecoming, whatever it was
Yeah, The
called.
Conjuring's
That
pretty
was
cool.
pretty. Those are very, very good movies. Of course, if we really want to go deep into it, I don't want to steal other people's movies, but what got me and Jay, I think, one time pretty damn good with an ex-girlfriend of mine. Bored one night, didn't know what to go see. What's this movie, The Grudge? I haven't heard shit about this. Let's go sit and watch it. And then Anna was so pissed off at us. Like, why would you take me to see this movie? I jumped so hard that first scene when they opened up Find the Kid in the Closet. I was like, oh shit. She was like, I gotta go. I'm like, nope, you stay. We're finishing it. The original Grudge, because I had no idea what I was getting into, scared the crap out of me. So that was a good movie. But I'll say there's plenty of movies like that. So, Dave, you can actually go next this time.
Oh, me?
Yeah, we'll switch it up a little.
Okay, sure. Well, you mentioned werewolf movies, but what about American Werewolf in London?
Oh,
That
I
was a good
forgot.
one.
That's
That
my
was-
second favorite. Yeah,
that
that's
was-
a really good one.
That was really good, and the transformations in that were
We're pretty good too. Yeah.
that was pretty unique for the times back then. It's really amazing. You think about those old movies back then and how they did things with just the practical effects and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Now that was another movie, real quick, not to cut you off, but that was another one I grew up on because if my father really wanted to get to me and bother me, and he just got a kick out of it, they would start singing "Blue Moon" as I was going up the stairs in the dark to bed, and then I would run back downstairs so quickly. Why you gotta do that? 'Cause I'd be freaked the hell out. as a little
You just
kid.
hear it down the stairs.
I was done. That movie scared. Every time I heard "Blue Moon," I was shitting bricks. Oh man, it was great. It's good to grow up like that, in a way. All right, continue on, my man. Just a quick story.
I would have to say the Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. I mean, that freaked the fuck out of me, man. That shit was scary because I mean, you can't get away. You go to sleep. Everybody got to sleep, right? That motherfucker coming after you.
There's no escape.
There's no escape, man.
Which one of those had the girl in the body bag that was like sliding down the hospital hallway? Was that
I don't know if that was the
it's
first
There's
one.
so many, man. I don't know.
That was so creepy to me.
The first one I thought was, the first one's classic, but then they get all campy and shit with the rest of them.
I did like the Warriors one
again. That was good.
Dream Warriors was fun.
Yeah, that was good. That was a fun one. But I don't know, that original one, just that first time of it's fucking that always gave me nightmares. I couldn't fucking sleep.
Like
after
honestly,
watching that.
What a good idea for a movie they made with that. Like you don't have anything too super creative these days. Like that was like a really good idea.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it had ever been done before, that sort of idea, right? I mean, killer coming at just, kids in their sleep.
Well, the only other thing, and I don't know if that was before Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Catcher or Dream Chaser or something like that, was where they would go to sleep.
I think it's
and the guys
Dreamcatcher.
might
I
have
think.
been. And like the main guy was like, he was trained, he was good at what he did. They can go into the dreams, and he would change himself into this snake guy and kill you in the dreams. That's another spooky movie too. Not like super horror, but it was definitely freaky. So that was the only thing that was kind of on the lines with that, but not like a Freddy. Freddy was great.
Now, would you consider the first Alien to be a horror?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Yeah,
sci-fi horror?
Definitely,
100%.
definitely.
Yeah, because the whole thing, it's like survival. You're running around the ship trying to survive, trying to stay away from it. They were scared the whole damn time.
Yeah, a lot of people think like it has to be like a slasher film, but there's a lot of sci-fi. There's a lot of sci-fi that's horror too. Like it's not. It
100%.
doesn't fit in that category in some people's eyes, but I think it totally is. I mean,
The
I would
Abyss.
definitely put that up there because I mean, just the thought of that, that fucking like that thing attaching to the person's face and shit, and then it's like, oh yeah, everything's fine afterwards. It died off. Like, oh, we're okay, and then all of a sudden that scene with the, when they're eating and it pops out, it's like that's just classic. It's a classic moment.
Around the guy's chest. Ugh.
Oh. And fucking skirts slithers away like.
Oh, it's so
What the fuck
nasty.
just,
It's
like,
so
what the fuck
nasty.
just happened? You know?
Classic ass movie.
Oh yeah.
What else you got? That's good. It's got to have more than that.
Huh? I'm not a huge horror person. That's
That's true. That's
that's
true.
my whole thing. You know. I mean, those are my classics really for me. I mean, I've seen other ones. I mean, Friday the 13th. You know, which one was? I actually thought, and a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought the remake for Friday the 13th was good. The one that came out a couple of years ago that combined like the first like 4 movies or something.
I don't think I ever seen it. I don't think I.
Hold on. Yeah, it was
I
like
thought
at
that
the
was good.
house. It was I think I know what you're talking about. I think that came. Was it right before Freddy vs. Jason?
No. This was after. This was like a couple of years ago, just a couple of years ago, like 2017 or 16, something like that.
Oh, did I see it? I might
It was
have.
like a remake of. It starts out at the end of the first movie, where the mother is chasing the last girl, and then she kills her, and then like it turns out like Jason is like actually still alive, and he watched the whole thing happen, and he grows up in the woods there and everything, and they start. I think they go through like I think the first 3 or 4 movies kind of combine them together into this one movie. You know, with the way things happen and everything. He's like a survivalist out in the woods there. You know.
Check that one out. For
Yeah,
sure.
no, that was good. I thought that was good. You know.
By the way,
Yeah.
real quick, but right behind me says it all. Horror video games like Diablo and stuff.
Mhm.
You come across those are horror games in themselves. You see some of the
I would
creatures,
definitely
the
consider
layouts.
Diablo's definitely a horror game.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
it's a
In the
different.
beginning.
It's a different type. I don't think it's like Resident Evil where it's like suspense kind of thing, or where there's like jump scares. But if you look at it based on the creatures and the darkness of Diablo, where you
The
can't see around
layout
the
of the
corner,
dungeons.
right?
Yeah,
Definitely,
very, very spooky-esque.
right.
Oh, you know what? Hellraiser.
Oh,
That
creepy shit.
Hellraiser. I would go with 1 and 2. I thought 2 was gory as hell, gory as fuck. I mean that movie is much more gory than the first one.
I've
And
watched a
those ones
few
are
of
those are crazy. Those are some crazy ass
Aren't they
movies.
talking about doing a remake of that?
They made
I'm
a
not
new one
sure.
recently. They made a new one, I think, a year or
Yeah.
2 ago.
I
Came
I
out.
thought I heard something about they were thinking about possibly doing a remake, which I don't know.
Might.
I
Sometimes
mean,
Wouldn't be
they do it all
surprised.
right. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to do that one. I see May 9, 2019 announced the Spy's Media to be developing a new remake of Hellraiser. So it was talked about 2 years ago. I don't know if anyone's come out since, but there's that.
There was a direct-to-video one that came out on, I think it was like on Amazon. You know, I seen it on Amazon, and that was at least 2 years ago that it
You
came
guys ever
out.
see House?
No.
It's basically it's a really freaky movie where you're like caught up in this house and everything that happens to people and everything in there comes back. And I think this like one guy like goes back to the wartime where he's messed up from like PTSD from war. And like his sergeant buddy guy that he gets blown up, whatever, but comes back through the house and is trying to kill him in the house, looking all demonic like and shit. That was a pretty cool, like old classic movie for horror. But House, Hellraiser though, gotta give you those were just sadistic.
classics.
Oh yeah, sadistic.
Even that, I mean, classic. You know, creating that character and that idea. You know,
Well, that's from the books, and actually I guess they're called the Cenobites. I think that's what they were. Like
his minions.
yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
they're all like actually they were talking about some things where some of them are not even bad if you go by the actual storyline. Like
Mhm.
they're the in between hell and heaven type deal and hunting down shit. Kind of there's a whole bunch of stuff with that, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, it's creepy ass movies. Now before we add more, what about you, Jay? Because I'm sure we stole all your shit.
I would definitely say the scariest for me was definitely The Exorcist. Definitely.
Oh, that's another good one. And
Yeah.
Poltergeist.
Definitely.
Oof.
Poltergeist, that's another one. The Exorcist definitely when she goes down the stairs backwards on the friggin' with that spider. I think that was the add-on. That was later on though, right? They added
Yeah,
that.
they didn't show. I don't think they showed that.
Dude, that was
What What about when she took the cross? It was like, ah, right to the
I know.
fucking. I was like,
But you know what?
twisted shit.
Those like around that time, like with The Omen and
That's another one.
all those movies around that time, to me were like the best because it's like just the way that they did it. It wasn't like today's day and age. It was just like the music and the atmosphere and it was I don't know. I just get a different feeling when I watch those movies. You know what I mean?
They do a thing with darkness.
Like it's just it's just simple. Like it's such
But
a
also
it's not like
the effects are better. I think back in the day with the practical effects. I think it's a
Yeah.
lot better than the CGI stuff where they just splatter so much shit all over the place or whatever, and they try and make it look so real. I think it actually looks,
It makes it
worse.
fake looking. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks much more fake. Whereas back in the day, you had the practical effects, and I mean, like with those werewolf movies, I mean, the way that they could do that was just fucking amazing.
like
You know how
even
many hours probably a transformation takes to actually film and do and
Oh.
makeup and shit? Oh my god.
Yeah,
well even like The Exorcist, like how the girl like she looked normal in the beginning, and then as the movie goes, she just starts getting more worse and worse, and you can start seeing her how she's like changing and everything like that. You know what I
The
mean?
devil coming out of her.
Like, and then you got to think about it in somebody else's eyes. Like there was one scene where one of the women is like babysitting her, like just watching her, and then all of a sudden you can hear her screaming, and then you open up the door. Like it's just like imagine being in that position where like there's this girl that's like on the bed and she's just like changing and nobody knows what's going on. Like it's just it's crazy.
Total creepiness. Yep.
Like it
Like,
doesn't
how do
even
you
have to be
react to that?
like a lot of like it doesn't even have to be jump scares. It's just the creepiness of it just gets you more than anything, I think. You know?
Yeah.
You're like involved in the movie so much your heart is racing with it. Like you are in it. You
Right.
feel what they're feeling.
Hmm.
Not today, like you see what they're feeling. No, you feel what they're feeling.
Like another
Different.
one, like even like Chucky. Chucky never had special effects, really, a little bit, but it was like it wasn't like the highest rated special effects ever, but just the way they did it, the creepiness of it, the music, the sounds, and like just like
Yeah, the
how,
first one was so good. Oh man, so good.
and I always think like when they have like movies with like kids involved in it, like Chucky with with the little boy and stuff like that, that always gets me a little bit more. Like The Omen was really freaky because it was a kid involved in it and stuff like that. It's weird when you have like an innocent person involved in something that's changing. I don't know, something about it. You know what I mean? You have like you see the innocence of kids, and then it just it adds to it. I think.
Well, you remember being a kid, right? And
I
then
guess, yeah.
this happening as a kid would just like you better have a diaper. Done. Like I'd be scared. But did you? Speaking of Chucky, did you see it's either going to be a Netflix thing? They're doing some new Chucky movie or show.
There's a TV show on. It's
TV
started
series,
already.
yeah.
I actually kind of want to do just to see that, because I like.
Yeah, I was
like,
thinking about checking it out.
It's out already.
So that's something I got. What is it on though? Is it Netflix?
I think it's on Amazon. Is it on Amazon
No, it's
Prime?
not Netflix. It's not
Uh-huh.
Netflix.
Amazon Prime,
Let's
maybe.
see. It's Child's Play,
know.
right? Or do they call it Chucky? I don't know what they call it.
No, geez, Child's Play, I believe.
Child's Play. 2019.
It's on regular TV. I think it's on regular TV, isn't it? I've seen commercials for it.
Child's Play TV. Chucky TV series 2020. So it's called Chucky.
Chucky. All right, there you
Let's see. So yeah. What is it on? Play intro. I want to know. I want to watch. USA Sci-Fi.
go. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, shit. Okay, so I gotta catch that. I think I have some new stations.
And another movie I liked was the original Saw. I like the original Saw as well. It wasn't a that's like a different type of horror to me. It's not a jump scare horror, but it's a very suspenseful horror. You know what I mean? Like, the original was good. All the rest of them, they got a little crazy towards the end, but I remember seeing the
Because I
first one.
guess you've seen the first one, right? So it's like what's coming in the second one in a way.
Yeah, but I like the
Well,
first one.
they
The
all
first one
went
was
off. They went off script, and in all the other ones, the first one was, "What are you willing to do to survive?" Whereas the other ones, it was like they put people in traps against other people, and it was like you had to kill. Like they didn't. In the first one, everybody had an equal opportunity to get out.
Yes.
Whereas in all the other ones, you didn't have an equal opportunity because you had to fight somebody else to,
Someone was dying.
or rely on somebody else to get you out. So it was totally different. I think it was totally different. You know?
And I gotta say, like a lot of people bash it, but um, when I first watched the Blair Witch Project, I remember it just because you know what it is. You could go through that whole movie and you don't see anything. You don't see anything scary whatsoever until the end where the guy's like in the corner, but you still don't see anything. But for some reason, it freaked you out through the whole movie.
Yeah,
the
I don't care
It
what
marketing.
just
people
I
said.
don't know what it is.
I liked it too. I liked it too.
Like I remember watching that movie and I was pretty freaked out through the movie. I don't know what it is.
Uh,
Maybe because it was the camera. It was like a digital camera, and you felt like like anybody could have that camera, and you could have been you out there, and it's like just like the freakiness of the woods, and like you don't know what's in the woods, and I don't know.
But never mind that. With all the media attention to this, was it real or not? Like
Yeah,
everyone like listening to, like they upped it all around. It was
that
kind of cool.
definitely added to it. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
The marketing really made that movie more than
Yeah, for
anything. I
sure.
think.
I
The
like
marketing really
yeah.
helped.
I like the movies with the cameras, like Cloverfield. I wouldn't say that's
Cloverfield was good.
100% scary, but that was because it was all handheld camera, and you felt like you were just watching an actual real footage from somebody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, those type were cool. You know, Friday the 13th was really good. That's a classic. Oh, anyone's around that time, I would say was really good. Like you said, The Howling, I like that.
What's it called? What are the movie? They were with what's his face with Chainsaw Hand.
Oh, Texas
Oh my God,
Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
No, Army of the
Yeah,
Army
but
of
the
Darkness.
original.
Army
No,
of
that
Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. But what was it before that? It wasn't Army of Darkness. It was
Oh,
something
Evil
else.
Dead.
Evil Dead. Like the
Evil
first
Dead.
Evil
Okay.
Deads and stuff. Those were fun to watch.
They made
I
a
love all those B-rated stuff.
they made a
I'll watch
show.
all that.
They made a show I watched too. It was actually pretty good. It was I think Ash versus the Evil Dead or something like that. It was called.
Yeah, it was on Showtime, right?
Yeah, I think it was called
Ash versus
Ash versus the Evil Dead or something like that. It was actually pretty funny. It's like a comedy horror at the same time. You know, it's like crazy, just it's scary but not at the same time.
Yeah, because that's like one of the king of cult classics right
Yeah.
there. That
Mhm.
was
Definitely.
those are great.
Yeah, it's too
Definitely.
bad they never did that crossover they wanted to do with Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. Yeah, that would have been
That would have been interesting,
interesting.
but that would have turned it, I guess, too much into a comedy.
Probably, yeah.
But like
Well,
the Freddy vs.
Freddy versus
Jason,
Jason was comedy.
it did have comic-esque things to it, but like I don't know, Ash himself at that point, there's nothing really like freaky or like medieval. He kicks ass, but everything about him at that point is comical.
Hmm.
The look of his face, the way he does the killing and everything, it's usually comical. So I don't know, like that would have been overkill on that. But I would
Well,
have watched it. Good shit.
they did have was it a comic book series, I believe, that they did instead, where they did tie in like Evil Dead with like Friday the 13th in a way. I think I can't. I don't know if I'm getting it mixed up with one of the ideas they had for one of the Friday the 13th movies, but there was supposedly going to be something. There was one Friday the 13th movie. What was the one where they? Oh, Jason Goes to Hell. Remember, he just kind of like he just kind of appears again in the beginning of that movie. They don't really explain how he came back, I think, and I think there was supposed to be something in there that originally it was supposed to that Necronomicon thing
Mm-hmm.
from Evil Dead, the book.
Mm-hmm. The book.
Yeah, that was supposed to be in there, like kind of insinuating that like Jason was associated with it, like like that was what brought him to life and kept him alive. I pretty sure that was one of the ideas for the movie or something like that. I mean, if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me on that. But I think it was either a comic book or it was one of the original ideas that they had for that movie that they wanted to put in there and kind of like hint at it being connected to Evil Dead.
So I have another movie that was turned into game, but matches the whole we were talking about sci-fi horror. The Thing.
Oh right.
That movie was creepy too.
Definitely at the end
Really creepy.
when they kill it
Gory.
when they kill it at the end and it's like has that loud scary scream that it gives off
Yeah.
at the end. That's high. Yeah.
When it has all the different like things attached, like sticking out of it. Like, isn't there one where like the guy's head is like to the side? You know,
Well,
sticking out one
basically,
right.
part of
in
it.
that
and-
form, it was everything that it had copied.
Yeah.
So you saw the dog head, the other guy, everything was sticking out of it at once. It was like nasty.
But just the scream that it was giving off at the end, I remember it was like, oh my
Screechy
god,
feel.
screechy, yeah. It was freaky
And,
by itself.
one more throw, because there's so many. But what do you think of The Fly?
Oh, The Fly was really good. The
Ah,
original.
yes, the original. Gross.
Well, wait. Which original are you talking about? Are you talking about
Well, we're
Jeff
talking about,
Goldblum?
yeah, well, that's,
or the one
I don't
before
think,
it?
no, Jeff
Goldblum's-
Goldblum.
Jeff
Okay.
Goldblum's one.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I don't remember too much the original one.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Jeff Goldblum's
Jeff,
one was done pretty good.
Goldblum to me is the original because that's the first one, and that's the first one I watched. But
Yeah,
I
for
did,
me.
how old is the one before that? It was
I'm not
made
sure
a long,
how-
long time
I'm not
ago.
sure how old it is, but I think it's in like black and white or something. But I'll always remember. I seen a scene from it. There's always one scene that I remember. There's two scenes I remember from it. One where the guy's walking and somebody, the woman, I don't know if it's his wife or whatever, but she takes something off his head and he's walking around and it's the guy's body, but it's the fly's head on his body. So the fly's head was on his body and his head was on the fly's body. And towards the very end of the movie, I remember they couldn't find the fly, and then eventually somebody found it, and it was like in a spider web, and it was like this, like the saddest fucking like also scary kind of thing, like where he's like, "Help me!"
Yeah,
help
yeah.
me," right?
Yeah,
And
they
it's
zoom.
the head on
Yeah.
the fucking fly body, but the spider
Yeah,
is
yeah,
walking
yeah.
towards him.
I-
to fucking eat him.
I
you
do
know?
remember that. Don't they zoom into like it's like they zoom into the web, and then you
Yeah,
see
you
him.
see him.
You see him in there
Yeah.
with the human head. That's right.
Yeah, the human head on
Dude,
the
listen.
fly body.
Any human head on anything is freaky as hell. You could put
So
a.
take a guess on that one. How old? What year you think? I got it already. So take your guesses.
Well,
I think it was in black and white, so I was gonna say like fucking like 50s or 60s, early 60s.
57.
Very close. Extremely close.
58.
Bam.
All right, so there you go.
Well, we know it was
58.
in the late 50s. It had to be.
Yep. 1958.
There you go.
Classic.
Dude, see, I'm telling you, old movies, even during that time, sometimes they're even more scarier than now, man. Freaky
I
stuff.
never saw it, but I remember my father. I don't know about my mother so much, but my father talking about it. He said, "Oh, for its time, it was really good." The Incredible Melting Man.
I don't think I've ever
But
seen
I've never
it.
watched
heard of
it.
it.
I never watched it. Yeah, but it was something like he just like keeps dissolving or
Or
something.
how about
throughout
the
whole
old school?
fucking
How about
movie.
the old school silent film like Nosferatu and stuff like that? If you go really,
Ooh, those were good.
you can really. I mean, even without even the silence of a lot of things. Even they say the original Dracula, just when he comes in and there's no sound, but you just hear like the wind from the window, and he's like creeping over somebody like that. Like even just simple things like that. It's just like
Yeah,
classic.
like what they have to put in to get you
Like, it
invoked
doesn't-
into this movie.
It doesn't have to be so. You could do such simple things and make it scary. Just the little things alone.
I would love to make a horror movie one day. I think that would be fucking fun.
I think there's a lot of directors and actually start off with that because it's you could be a lot more creative with it, and you could that kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't have to follow too.
You don't have to
rigid
go
of a
too
story.
crazy. You cosplay something. You can make a costume up, and you could just do it.
I think with horror, practical effects are definitely the way to go with most of it.
Hmm.
That's the way I
Especially,
feel too.
The VFX helps, with some things, but the practical stuff, I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, it's not a horror movie, but like going a little off topic, I would say, I mean, one of the best examples, honestly, with that is Ninja Turtles. I think the original Ninja Turtles movies.
Yeah, based on
mean-
like suits.
Those suits were amazing. I mean, I feel like they still
Right.
hold up today. I think they were a lot better than the ones that they did a couple of years ago with all the CGI. The giant CGI turtles.
Mm.
I think those rubber suits were, a lot better.
Hmm.
No, for its time, those were really good. I think that's a really good movie. Yeah, the way they did it. Not gonna lie, I agree, 100%.
Hmm. Even like the Mummy back in the day. I mean, all the guy really had was rappings, but just the sound of just the little things about it, adds to it. You can watch those movies all the time. I can watch them and they'll be perfectly fine, even if they're in black and white. You don't even have to have color. I think
Yeah,
that
I know.
adds. I think that adds
Black
to
and
it.
white's fun.
I think that adds to it actually. Some of the stuff.
All right, so I got one movie for this topic. I said we should throw this out if you can think of one. There's a couple, really. A horror comedy. No, I'm throwing everyone from loop because we didn't discuss doing this, but I have a few.
Okay, you go and then give us time.
All right.
I could definitely take one.
I'll say one and save another for after. But like one of my go-tos, I still like watching from time to time. Monster Squad.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
I got a big kick because you got all the classic monsters in that movie. Once again, kids. So something with kids and monsters, it works out, and just like the creepiness of it, but it's all comic related. So that was a very good movie. I as a kid watching that,
Oh, I got one.
Those are really good movies.
I got one. You guys should definitely get Ghostbusters.
Hell yeah.
That's a good comedy. I mean, listen,
it's kinda
even I gotta tell you, when I was young, and he goes, "Get her," and she does that thing,
I
and dude,
always
I was
jump
freaked
in.
out by that shit.
I always feel my hair on my body move. She's like,
dude, there was parts of that was freaky. I definitely.
It's a very
That's
good. It's a very good Halloween movie, but I don't know if I put that in a horror section though. I feel like it's just more of like a comedy, dark comedy.
Yeah, but they had.
Kind of thing,
But you got ghosts and stuff. The cab driver who's all like skeletoned out.
Oh yeah,
The music, definitely the music in there was definitely, there's certain music, that was freaky.
That's why I would say it's
certain
a
elements
horror
to it.
comedy. Yeah. What about you, Dave? You have one?
No, I can't really think of a horror comedy movie.
What do you think about Gremlins?
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
That's a good one.
I watch
True.
Gremlins around Christmas. I think that's a Christmas film. Definitely.
Yeah, that is a Christmas movie.
It's good. But it's freaky.
That like falls right underneath the weird Christmas movies like everybody watches, like Die Hard's a Christmas movie,
Yep.
Yeah.
Just because the
Gremlins,
time of year the movies take place.
Gremlins. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Christmas theme in it.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one, actually. Gremlins, yeah. That's a good
I like
idea.
those video games, by the way.
What about Critters?
Critters was another good one.
That's a funny one.
Yeah.
Roll up in a bowl and you just turn into a skeleton, like.
Oh, when they all morph to one big ball and the guy gets run over. I remember that.
Yeah, the really whack ones, the troll movies where they like feed you food and you turn into like plant food and they eat you.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
True.
I like that shit.
Oh,
I like that.
How about this Little Shop of Horrors?
Little Shop of Horrors really good. Yeah.
That's I guess you consider that a comedy horror, right? I mean, kinda. I mean, there's some points in that movie where it gets pretty dark.
Yeah, that's a comedy horror.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's feeding people to the freaking plant.
Yeah.
That's 100% comedy.
I mean, it starts off really happy and a lot of music, and then if you think about it, more towards the end, it gets when the plant starts getting angry and it gets really crazy. It starts to get a lot darker towards the end.
Oh yeah. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long.
Feed me, bitch.
That's a good movie. Mm-hmm. Those are good movies.
There was something I was just thinking of. Crap. Can't remember. Getting old.
Yeah. But I mean, I could talk about horrors forever. It's just my favorite genre, pretty much, besides like, I don't know, it's a toss-up, but one of my favorite genres for sure. I could sit up every night and just go, okay, on-demand horror, and never seen this piece of crap movie, put it on, whether it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life or not, I'll watch it. It's me. I don't know. I get a kick out of that crap.
I mean, I thought the first It remake was good. The second one wasn't as good.
Yeah.
I think they were both pretty good. I enjoyed both.
Yeah, both was. I think the second one was good, but I don't think it was as freaky as the first one for some reason.
But it in general is a great. I mean, shit. That's a perfect Halloween fucking movie.
But I always felt like if they were going to recreate it, they did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. It was one of the best remakes I think I would ever seen.
Yeah, it was a good idea to make it two movies instead of just.
That's how they freaking the beginning of the new one, like you did not expect it, where like he's getting away, and then it's just like, and just sucked him in
Dude,
after
I gotta
ripping
tell
his
you,
arm off.
the
I was like,
trailer,
oh my
dude, I
god.
remember the trailer for the second film was one of the scariest parts with the old lady.
Oh yeah,
You
it's so
remember?
creepy.
And then all yeah, and then
You
you
just see,
hear
like,
her,
him
you
going-
hear her with her feet, and then
Ah, so creepy.
you see her creeping around the corner like this. That was
Yeah, it was mad creepy. Ah, those are fun movies. That's good. I love watching shit like that. All right, anything else you
speak.
guys want to add?
Well, speaking of horror, I've been playing. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called the Dark Pictures Anthology. It's a video game. They're up to the third one. They're up to the third one now. It's basically like an interactive. I started playing the first one called Man of Midden. It's basically an interactive horror movie. So like you move around. It's kind of like yeah, James, if you look it up, it's kind of like the still camera is similar to Resident Evil, where there's kind of like still cameras and stuff like that, and you move around, and you have to interact with things really quick. So it'll tell you to press A real quick or B, and you have to press left or R1 or R2 or whatever. And based on what you do throughout the whole entire story, based on what happens at the end. So you could go through the whole movie, you could go through the whole game with all your guys, or you go through the whole game with like people start dying off. So it's basically like an interactive horror film. It's actually pretty cool. It's fun.
Was it
It's simple.
Man of Medan?
Yeah, Man of Medan. That's
I'm looking at pictures of it.
that's the first one. They actually have three. They just came out with the one recent one now. I forgot what it was called. It was uh something Ashes or something like that was the new one. And I think they're gonna make four for the season. They're actually doing it like they're doing seasons, so it's almost like an interactive horror film. And it's the graphics are pretty good. It's pretty cool. A little clunky sometimes with the controls, but I jumped a lot throughout the whole thing. And you got to make quick decisions because based on whatever you say, because you have certain options. Like if one of your friends is talking to you, you have to make a quick option. Like it's a wheel, and the wheel starts to shrink. So you got to make that option, that quick decision. It's either you tell him one thing or you tell him the other thing, and based on what you do throughout the game will affect things later on. Like it'll tell you like, oh, if there's two options, you could either take the baton or you could take the flashlight. So if you take the baton, that might come in handy later. It's pretty cool. It's like
What they should do for like nights out with friends having a good time, like instead of sitting down like watching a movie, what happens like you're drinking beers, you're chilling out, you're not even drinking, whatever the case may be, but you put on something like that, and they make it like something that lasts like 2-3 hours,
no, that's what
and with so many different
you could
things.
play multiplayer on it. Basically, so what you do is I don't know. I don't know 100%. I could be wrong with this, but I know it's multiple player. You could play. It's either you have two options. It either says play alone or play with somebody else. So you can either do two things. And I think the play alone obviously is the regular thing. But if you play with somebody else, I think you control somebody else's emotions. So based on what you choose and your friend chooses, you're kind of doing
Affects each
things
other.
together. Yeah. So
That's
it's actually
pretty cool.
yeah, it's like a big interactive horror film. You know, it's actually pretty cool.
That's-
I seen somebody
that's a
playing
neat
it
idea.
today, the newest one. I was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. So I tried it. It's fun. I don't know how long it is. I've been playing I played maybe total of 4 hours now. It could be a 15-hour game. It could be short, but it's a pretty cool story though. I mean, it's definitely scary. You know.
But you move around, or is it just all like
No,
decision based?
No, you move around. They each, depending on where the story is, you're controlling different characters, but it's kind of like Resident Evil but better graphics, meaning that the camera is stuck in one position. I mean it follows you sometimes, but it's more like fixed camera angles. So that's where it gets a little clunky because it's kind of like you remember in Resident Evil, sometimes it could get a little clunky, like you're moving around. It's like
Yeah.
you get stuck on the corner of the wall and you're like, oh, I got to move this way and then this way. Yeah. So it's similar to that. I don't know how the newer ones, maybe they improved it a little bit, but it's like that. And then based on what you do, you find different secrets and it kind of gives you hints of what scenarios that could happen later. They give you quick clips of somebody getting killed. And that could be a scenario that you could try to avoid later on in the story. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely cool to play during Halloween around that time. So
That's on PS5.
you can get it for PC, Xbox, and I don't know if it's PS5, but I know you can get it for Xbox or PC because I got the first game for free on Game Pass. So
Oh.
I know it could be. I don't know if it's a Microsoft exclusive, but I know it's definitely for PC. But I'm playing on the PC, so that's cool.
Okay.
That one sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, it's not like I would skill. It's more decision making than it is skill and
Yeah.
anything else. But I heard you could play through multiple playthroughs, and sometimes you could have different outcomes because
Well, yeah, because it's story based. Like you're just making the story as you go.
I know, like in the beginning of this game, there was one part where you're in like maybe during World War II, and I get up to one part, and it was a little zombie kid. He just comes up, and he has a knife, and sometimes you have to take the icon and put it. So there's a little circle like on the kid, right? And it'll just kind of like shrink. So you have to get that bullseye on him and press that button real quick. And if you don't, that's what happened to me. The kid come up and fucking killed me. But then it goes from that story to the next part of the story. So now, if I would have survived, is the outcome later going to be different? I don't know. So it's kind of cool like that. Like you don't know. You could play through multiple playthroughs, and I heard it's different as you go.
Well, my sisters watched a series, and I think I watched part of the first one or the first season, but I never fully went through for whatever reason. But I don't know about you guys. American Horror Stories.
Oh yeah, I've
I've heard
watched.
of it.
I've watched. What do they have, like 7 seasons now? I think, or something like
I
that.
think it might even be more than that.
I've watched at least 3 seasons. I watched the first season. I watched the circus one. Is really weird. The circus season, and then I watched which one was it? And I started watching the newer one too. It looks like, well, I watched half of the first episode. What was it, like aliens or something like that?
Yeah, I think I heard her say something like that. I know there was like a vampire hotel thing or some shit like that too.
You should watch them. They're actually pretty good. I mean, some seasons aren't as good as others, but a lot of them are pretty good. I heard.
And they always grab like someone like semi-famous that you've heard of and put them in there, right? Like I think Adam Levine was in one.
Yeah, and then some
Um,
of them, some of the actresses and actors are actually in a lot of them. They're in the same. Like they reuse them for certain things.
the same actors, they just do a different role in the new setup.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard those are pretty good.
they are good. Um,
Well, since you brought up another topic here,
Uh-oh.
for what about horror TV shows? That's one that you mentioned. What about do you ever what about I would say Tales from the Crypt?
Yep.
that's
Back
classic.
in
from
the
the
day,
Crypt.
come on, that's
Tales from
classic.
the
The
Crypt,
Crypt
great.
Keeper.
Yep. Great.
And what about did you guys ever watch Nightmare on Elm Street?
The show, I never know.
Yeah,
It was a Nightmare on
show.
Elm Street show.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that. No.
that was it was short lived, but it was Freddy Krueger was in it, but he was just like kind of like a narrator kind of thing, like the Crypt Keeper was for wow.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt. Jesus Christ. Like the Crypt Keeper was where he would introduce the episodes and stuff like that, and then he would be there at the end. Well, it was like that with Freddy. Freddy would introduce like the episodes, and then he would pop up at the end. He didn't really directly participate in most episodes. I think there was some where he did kind of a little bit, but not to the extent of like it being Freddy Krueger as like the killer or anything like that, you know.
Well, I
But
mean, you want to go real classic with that? You definitely gotta say Twilight Zone.
yeah.
Oh,
well,
Twilight
so-
Zone was great.
Some of those
Yeah.
episodes were super creepy. And they have
Definitely.
like the old
Absolutely.
ones too. So those are great things. Like you think
Yeah.
back to all this stuff, it makes you want to watch. It's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to go back and see now that we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean that was classic. And didn't they remake some of it too? And it was black and white back in the day, and then they
Yes.
do color episodes too.
Yes, they did eventually. Even with the black and white ones, some of them pretty good, and just the voices
Oh,
and
yeah.
how so
Oh,
They
good.
were they were thinking about redoing. That's probably what you're talking about. They were thinking about redoing Tales from the Crypt, right?
Tales from the Crypt.
I remember hearing something about an updated version of it.
I think they kiboshed it though, or something.
Maybe. Yeah, I haven't heard anything else about it. Like very briefly, I heard something a while ago about it, but
I would love to see something like that. Like you guys ever hear the hell's it called? It's the European show about the sci-fi. It's like based on technology. It's kind of like Tales from the Crypt, not uh it's not Tales from the Crypt. It's like the thing that you were just mentioning, Dave. It's like a series where every story is different. Um
There was Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, similar
or
to the
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, but they had the one where it's based on technology. What was it? Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wanted them to make a new age Black Mirror, but horror. You know what I mean? Like something like every episode's a different story, and they, if they would do a good job with that, like little like Tales from the Crypt was, you know.
Hmm.
I don't know why they
So-
can't. I think they've tried. I've never watched it. I'm sure on Netflix they've had a couple of things where it's similar to that, but
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt got squashed. It looks like. Says filmmaker M Night. Screw up the name. Shyamalan was all set to produce a reboot of Tales from the Crypt a few years back, but the project ended up never materializing. They had a trailer in like 2017 or something like
yeah, it was
that.
like a teaser or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you heard his laugh, that the Crypt Keeper's
I
laugh.
love his laugh. Yeah. Creep shows, but that was a movie, I think, right? Creep show.
I think so.
Uh,
I think it was a movie that had like different parts of that, but I'm pretty sure those are pretty good too. I like those ones where they do like spin-offs, not a full story. You don't need a full story. Like actually, if you go on I've seen a couple that weren't bad. If you go on like YouTube, there's like shorts for horror movies, and like they'll be like 15 minutes, and they're
Mhm.
actually pretty good. Like if they could make full movies of some of the stuff, it's like not bad ideas. There's a lot of stuff like that. I mean, horror's got so many fans. I know you're never a big horror fan, Dave, altogether, but overall, there's a lot of people that love those shits.
yeah, that's fine. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, good stuff. What else you got? Because
You know what?
I could just
Well,
ramble.
I can. Well, I guess one other thing I just thought of honestly was what about books and stuff? I mean, you know, if you guys were you guys really into any of that stuff? Any of the horror books and things like that? You know, Stephen King and all that.
Well, you know me, like not super huge reader into books and things like that. Some things, very little bit, but not too crazy on it. So I started reading Stephen King's It originally, and I don't know, it was just in the beginning. I never fully went through it. I don't know why. I was like the stuff it
Well,
was talking about in the very beginning
yeah.
was very off.
Well, I know when I was really young, scary stories to tell in the dark was really fucking.
Those were fun ones.
Dude, if you see, look up the drawings for these. You got to realize this was a kid's book. If you look up drawings from scary stories to tell in the dark. If you don't think that shit looks freaky to show any kids, I was freaked out by it. I remember they were even reading that in class, and I'm like, I don't even want to open this book.
Images.
Yeah, look it up.
What
Th-
the F?
That
That is some
those are
spooky shit.
That's kids books, dude.
Oh, I remember this picture.
Those are kids books. You remember those from back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
These are good.
those drawings are freaky. I have to say. That artist who did those pictures, it's freaky stuff. And even the
See,
stories are freaky.
you couldn't even like nowadays, man. I don't know what the heck's wrong with people, but you can't even like if you showed something like this to kids nowadays or put something, they'd be like, "Oh my god, what are you doing? Take them out of school." Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah. Like,
yeah.
but we grew up on this. It wasn't gonna kill us. Like shit. One of my favorite cards. I even had folders. People looked at me like I was crazy in elementary school. Garbage Pail Kids. Loved that shit. Those were freaky
You know what's
looking cards,
cool?
man.
They made a movie based on
Pail
they
Kids.
made a movie based on the creatures in this book. The book that you're looking at, that kid's book.
Yeah,
They did
I think
scary
I've
stories
seen
to
it.
tell in the dark. They actually did a pretty good job on the characters. The story was a little but they actually took the characters from the drawings from these books, and they actually made like real characters out of them. And it's
And they made it
it's
look
pretty
good.
freaky, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I think they had a
It's
picture
pretty
of like it looks like a chick almost, yeah, like a fat faced chick or something.
yeah. A lot of them are friggin'
Got some weird looking shit.
it's
I
freaky.
love that
It's
stuff.
yeah, I know. But think about it as a kid's book, right? Back then, I was looking at that like, oh man, that's scary shit. Like, there's no
That's
color.
one thing.
There's no color to the photos, really, but it's just like, it's just freaky. Like
Yeah, you know what?
whatever artist this was, I forgot I don't remember his name, but
I never liked English class at all, but when I went to college, I was like, I have to take some sort of English class or whatever. And they had horror literature, and that was a fun class for me. It talked about all the classics, like The Raven and this and that, and then you give your take on things. Like there was so many cool things. A lot of classic dark stuff out there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dave, if you've seen these pictures, you know exactly. You probably seen this book in school at some point
Must
back
have
in the day.
had to have.
I always thought it was pretty extreme for a kid's book, though.
I'll have to check it out.
That's just because you're pussy, baby. Couldn't take it.
Hey, now.
They know.
I grew up in the city, man.
In the
City
city.
tough. City tough.
City tough. So I don't need to take that book. I just walk down the avenue.
That's right. I always walk down the street and I just see it.
I just
there.
look down the
see all that
alleyways
stuff.
and you see these creatures walking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
All right.
I guess just to end it, I've been playing Metroid Dread. I really like. Dave, did you try it? I know you own it. You haven't tried it yet. It's pretty good.
No.
I like
haven't
it.
had time.
I mean, it's not really scary. I mean, there's certain parts where you get to certain areas where you got to be where you're chased down and you got to get out of the way and stuff like that. I'm like about 75% through it. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Metroid Dread, huh? What kind of 3D side scroller?
Yeah, it's like old school Metroid kind of. It's like a Metrovania they call it kind of thing where it's like side scrolling and stuff like that. So you start off where you lose all your powers and then as you're going you got to get all your stuff back and stuff like that. But it's good. It's good. You go from one map to the next, you go back. Certain locations you can't get to yet until you get your certain skills and you go back. It's pretty cool. It's on Switch. It came out what was it, a month ago? Something like that maybe.
Looks interesting.
But
All right. So before we roll out of here, real quick, one movie, one game. One horror movie, one horror game. Go, Jay. Your favorite, like one that just like.
Okay, so it would have to
like,
be.
Yeah, your absolute favorite, or like your absolute favorite one.
I would say
Please.
The Exorcist is a movie, and I'd say Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, was probably the most because I have a lot of memories of that, and I also sold my Nintendo for that game. Probably.
That's right, you did. So.
Yeah. I would say the original Resident Evil.
Moment in itself.
Definitely.
Jameson.
Resident Evil: The Howling.
Resident Evil and The Howling. All right.
Yep.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with American Werewolf in London for movie. I mean, that's just it's a classic. And video game. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Blood 2.
Now, if you guys have not seen any of what we talked about, gotta check it out. That's the jam right there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good for today, right?
I think we're good. We did good.
It was
today,
good for our
you know?
Halloween episode.
Yeah, I didn't think it would go as long as it did, but it went well.
Yeah. All right. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And check us out on Twitter. And also, James, you are
SSS 1981, Twitch TV.
there
And
you go.
you could also check out some Twitch I do on Just Your Average Geeks on Twitch. So check it out. Sometimes, whenever I get a chance, I'll go on there, check it out, like some videos. I'm gonna try to put some on YouTube. We'll see what we could do, but that's it.
All right. All right. So be safe and be well. And Just Your Average Geeks signing off, and we'll catch you later.
Peace.
Peace.